Hello and good day, Mike Adcock with an update on Typhoon Utor in the South China Sea, approaching landfall there in southeastern China. This brief is based on the 9 Zulu JMA advisory from the 13th of August 2013. That 9 Zulu JMA position is about 375 kilometers south of Hong Kong, or about 390 kilometers east-southeast of Haikou in northern Hainan Island. Winds are still typhoon force 80 knots, gusting to 115, and it continues to move off to the west-northwest there, 13 knots. Pressure is 955 hectopascal. Right now, China does have the red warning out for typhoon. That's mainly for Guangdong province. Signal 3 has also been raised for Macau and Hong Kong. Of course, with this system, for storm information specific to your area, and monitor the forecasts and warnings by your local meteorological agency. Take a look at the JMA surface analysis. Really no change to what we've been talking about for the life cycle of Utor. Strong high pressure continuing to dig in through the western Pacific. This area of high pressure has been really making stagnant hot conditions for portions of Japan, Korea, and in eastern China. And that's been helping to keep the system moving westward toward a weakness there in China. So it's going to continue to move northwestward. Right now, looking about a day out from landfall. Should make landfall Wednesday late afternoon or early evening. Speaking of which, here is the JMA official track forecast on Utor. Again, about a day before landfall there in Guangdong province, or western Guangdong. Though after it does make landfall, it should be sheared out relatively quickly and make a pretty sharp turn off to the west, affecting Guangxi Island or Guangxi province before dissipating. At this point, pretty much all the agencies are in line. Hong Kong again, looking at landfall tomorrow afternoon, and then a sharp turn off to the west. Again, Macau, same thing. Both areas, they are relatively removed from the eye, but still going to be looking at strong showers, thunderstorms, very gusty winds, considering that they're going to be on the east side of Utor. Here's the JTWC forecast rather. Again, currently at 100 knots according to JTWC, gusting up to 125. Little to no change in strength before landfall. May see some slight strengthening, but again, once it does make landfall, it's going to turn off to the west pretty rapidly and decay. Notice the wind radii. Matter of fact, we'll turn off to the next slide here. The tropical storm force winds just west of Hong Kong. Still breezy though. Most of the typhoon force is going to be focused in western Guangdong province, in and around the Maoming area, just east of Zhanjing. And then, of course, we're going to move off to the northwest after that landfall. Really not much to add here with the model guidance. Again, making landfall, sharp turn off to the west. That's pretty much in line with all the major agencies. In terms of intensity, really no significant change in strength. May see some strengthening considering you still have another day out at sea, but shear is starting to increase. Once it does make landfall, you pretty much write it off. Beyond the effects of rain showers and flooding concerns, those winds should pretty rapidly die off. For Dvorak, JMA at 6 Zulu, they were going for a data T of 4.0. Ended up using the pattern, cut it in the middle, used the pattern for their final T at 4.5. Still typhoon strength, or on the bottom end of it. Nesdis, they used a data T of 5.0. They used basically an eye method, identifying a dark gray eye with a light gray ring embedded in medium gray. That gave them a 4.5 data T. They tacked on another half for this quarter banding on the south periphery of the storm. So that brought them to a 5.0. That also matches up with the model expected T number and the pattern. And JTWC pretty much cutting it in the middle as well. 4.0, what they use the spiral technique, 9/10 wrap, so that brought them to 4, but opted to use the Model T number of 5.0 for their final. Water temperature is still warm, about 29 degrees, and that also concurs with the buoy reports that we're receiving. Taking a look at the upper air, really the big thing to point out here, it is starting to weaken, pretty ragged appearance here at 200 hectopascal. What I do want to bring your attention to is look over Guangdong province. You'll notice a lot of southwesterly winds here, 25-30 knots or so. Alright, stacking down from 200 to 500 hectopascal, notice the winds shift and are now out of the northwest, or rather the northeast. About 180 degree difference in shears there, so, or in wind direction, so obviously quite a bit of shear going on, and that's going to, of course, the land's going to kill this thing pretty quickly, but what the land doesn't take care of quickly enough, this shear will pretty much end it relatively soon. And speaking of the shear, you see here at 6 Zulu, shear forecast does show that increasing shear on the southeastern periphery of the upper level low. Again, once Utor makes landfall, it should start weakening relatively quickly. Taking a look at some surface observations, really all we're seeing some isolated thunderstorms, showers in around the area. Still very breezy though, getting some gusts into the mid-20s or so. We'll continue to watch that though as it approaches land on tomorrow. Dishadao at 9 Zulu, they were reporting thunderstorms. Pressure there 992 hectopascal. Did get a report this is a ship just east of Hainan at 6 Zulu, the Polaris J. A little breezier there. Northwest winds at 26 knots. Pressure there down to 997 hectopascal. Just some spotty rain with that. Zhangjing over in western Guangdong province. Thunderstorms rocking them as well. Not really reducing visibility. Winds are still relatively light. And then just taking a look over at Hong Kong. Partly cloudy skies. Just some light rain showers. Breezy there as well. 17 knots out of the east. Alright, this concludes our update today on Utor. We'll continue to follow along as it approaches landfall in southeastern China throughout, on your Wednesday. You can follow along on westernpacificweather.com for up-to-date information. Also follow along on Twitter and Facebook. And then join in on the tropical discussion at storm2k.org. I'll be posting periodically as well, so you can follow me on Twitter at Senior Pepper. Thank you for tuning in. Have a great day. Take care.